Okay, I just wanted to make sure to make because now it is becoming pretty much the norm to ascribe hatred of Jews and nationalistic politics to fascism, and then to come up with kind of make up this idea that there's something intrinsic to nationalism that includes then Jew hate, which of course then it kind of brings up immediately this idea of, but so they're not in the national group. um, yeah. So Jews can't be nationalistic in their own countries. Now this is the issue. So fascism fundamentally, there's no way around it. The Jewish girlfriend of Mussolini himself, yes, and as you guys know, you guys have sent me literally her writings about how she encouraged Mussolini's ideology, and she felt great guilt for it because she's Jewish. And so fascism couldn't have existed without Jews helping the idea, because it was an offshoot of socialism. Now, key also beyond this is this idea of, well, if it wasn't really racist in its fundamental foundations, then why do people demonize it? Okay, well, no. Here's one that'll cook people's noodles if they've never heard this before. All you got to do is search Israel Fascist Party. It existed. There was a fascist party in Israel made by Jews. It's not an ideology that is anti-Jewish. It is an ideology of the state being coercive. So that party, I think if I remember right, translates to the Brotherhood of Thugs or something like that. And so Israel itself had a fascist party. And it was because, as I've mentioned before, about the labor Zionists versus the other schools of thinking within the many people from all over the planet who moved there, many of which did not all speak the same language even. Like, I met people when I went there that were from Argentina, only spoke bits and pieces of Hebrew, spoke a little bit of English, but spoke fluent Spanish. So, I mean, they had to figure out how to cobble together a state, a people, and a government that I mean, even historically, their own people didn't get along well. So the people who keep trying to use the word fascist in all these contexts that it doesn't apply, I just want to make sure to put out there, okay, you guys keep implying that this was an anti-Jewish ideology. That's National Socialism of Hitler. It was a Jewish woman who came up with Italian fascism. And they themselves in Israel adopted the ideology in an official party. So it's just, after a while, it's like, no, get it right. Just get it right. And stop trying to act like there's people pursuing the Jewish people to the ends of the earth to get them, because there's just not. There's just not. And but it's so disingenuous. It's so disingenuous. It's got to be called out, because it's bullshit. There's all these people who don't do their homework. They don't do the heavy reading. They don't do the talking to other people who they disagree with to get clarity on things. There's somebody who is even what's it called? A fan of this channel that has, they've said openly, they're like, no, no, I'm from Europe. And they expressed, like, that a lot of the ideas, because they believe in the idea of European states having this idea of a collective that is the people naciated in that state. Like, he just, that's the way he, yeah. And that he's really has gotten across, like, people ascribe things to it that have nothing to do with it. That this was once the Germans took over, like when the British took over the colonies, we like to talk about the colonies after the British took them over. We don't like discussing the colonies prior to the British taking over, because they were basically a lot better to kind of live in at that time. The British basically took over and then came down on people, and wanted it to be a revenue producing venture. And really, the people were like, no, you're trying to work us like slaves. That's inevitably what you're going to do. You're going to work us like slaves. And and it was, yeah. So, and of course, at the time, you would have worried about this because the British were so notoriously brutal at that time. So, yeah, so it's just, I just wanted to put that out there, because this is just it's just so bad. Nobody really does the good solid historical, the good solid research anymore that would have even been normal. Like, not even baby boomers would throw around the word fascist this much unless they were way, way, way off to the left. And I remember this quite specifically when I was younger. It really discouraged people just flying off the handle and accusing other people of stuff like that. And but now we see that this is a go-to by the soft intellectualism of the left, and is really a go-to by the gender sexuals. The gender sexuals absolutely have to posit this idea that everybody's trying to oppress them with the fascism, and which is, it's very necessary for them because of how important gender sexuals think they are, because of the tendency toward insanity and narcissism, and the fact that it seems to also have a lot to do with having being poorly socialized by a permissive parent. So, yeah. So, just some thoughts I was putting out there. Later.